when this game came out, HBO Boxing was the premier place to get fighting. This is what you watched for fighting. The UFC was very small. Showtime Sports was probably didn't even exist, or was small, or not even close to being as big as HBO Boxing. This was the heyday of HBO Boxing. You would think they could have enough money and sense to make a good game out of the already established product they had. And you know what? They fucking didn't. Now the controls are, you know, you press a button, you attack. The graphics are, I mean, I'll show you later where the graphics totally failed, but just in terms of the pixels, it's fine. It looks fine for a boxing game. The thing is, the attacks are just ridiculous. You can throw like one punch at a time. You could switch up, obviously, you could switch up. But it's really smart and in your best interest to throw a punch at a time, because throwing combinations is just a giant fucking hassle. And the punches look ridiculous too. You know, you have all this range, you know, you're professional boxers, and you do these tiny little taps. Look at that. It's just not satisfying to hit at all. It doesn't even look like they hit. It looks like they're just slapping the air around their opponent, really. What in the fuck, man? Those are not human arms. Those arms can literally touch their own knees when they're standing straight. What is going on here? Orangutans fighting? These aren't humans? Somebody shaved orangutans, and now these two monkeys are pretending to be Rocky Marciano and Roberto Duran? Is that what's happening? I mean, is the game supposed to have like kind of arcadey look to it? No! Nothing in the game says it has to be like cartoony and arcadey. It's HBO Boxing. It's supposed to be realistic boxing and realistic fighting. And you would think with giant fucking praying mantis arms like this, the attacks would actually be satisfying, but they're just little taps. Most of the attacks are tiny little taps, and it's really hard to do combinations. The boxers basically punch with one arm, and you have to press L1 to switch between arms, but you can't just hold L1 to do combinations. You have to keep tapping L1 to switch arms. So you're pressing L1 and the square and triangle and X and circle keys all at once. It's just a clusterfuck of buttons. The game is horrible. It's fucking awful. And I just cannot forgive the fucking giant alien arms. I cannot fucking forgive it. They literally look like those characters from Atari Boxing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. See, just the long, stupid, like, reach that doesn't look human. The fact that you can really only attack with one hand at a time. I mean, you can switch up and do combinations with L1, but it's like constantly pressing L1 and attacks. It's a hassle. I have no idea why you can't just hold down L1 and do like a flurry of attacks. Ugh. Now, to the game's credit, it has basically all the superstars you could play as, you know, in the year 2000 and prior to it. You know, you gotta give it credit for that. It has big names. I mean, I've showed you 2 fights already, and you've seen, you know, Marciano, Foreman, and Roy Jones Jr. fighting. You know, it's good, but the thing is, it's not like you see anything special from these fighters. You know, you don't see them doing their specialties. It's always the same attacks for everyone, and it's not like you would be able to see someone like, let's say, Rocky Marciano do his specialty, because Rocky Marciano was not a gorilla in real life. He didn't have 200-inch reach, you know, so anything that he did as a fighter goes out the window, because this is not what he looked like. This is not what a human looks like. I don't know what they were going for, or how they can make some fighters look so ridiculous. I mean, obviously here we have George Foreman, who looks good, but we even see some of that weird, insanely long arm crap from Roy Jones's character as well, you know. So it's like I can't tell you how many characters look ridiculous and how many actually look like they're real counterparts, but it doesn't matter, because just having that ridiculous like monkey hands on even one character is already like, what the hell were they going for? What, I don't get it. But I'm not like someone who's like, oh yeah, characters look horrible, blah blah blah. It's just a bad fighting game. I mean, you see how bad and unsatisfying it is to actually do attacks. So if you want a good boxing game, you can buy it and other great PlayStation 1 classics on the Amazon link below this video. Knockout Kings 2000 is an actual boxing game. The controls are actually good, it's satisfying to punch, and it feels like a boxing game. And most importantly, you don't play as shaved gorillas. They have human arm length. That is probably the biggest difference between Knockout Kings and this pile of horse shit from HBO Boxing, which was the fucking most... I still can't believe it's like if UFC came out with like a horrible mixed martial arts game. And I mean, obviously you can argue that it did, but only online. I mean, UFC, the actual fighting mechanics of the two UFC games that came out were just nothing but awesome, So it's unacceptable to have horrible fight mechanics and just bad overall playability when you're like the big dog in boxing and you come out with HBO Boxing. You got HBO in the name. I mean, I guess I should have known. It's you could literally consider this like a TV based game, and anything that comes from the TV into a game, like a TV show game, it's going to be horrible. I mean, technically, this isn't a TV show game. It's more like a sports game, but it is kind of a TV show game as well. So yeah, I guess we should have expected a TV license game to be crap. But yeah, Knockout Kings 2000 actually is a very good game, and you should buy that. Goodbye, my friends.